let's hear his wisdom. Keep in mind that Jordan Peterson, though he's mostly known for self-help, actually rose to fame by lying about Bill C-16. by he was like crybabying, like, if the police come and arrest me, then I'll die in prison before the state can force me to. And it never happened. Nobody's been arrested. Nothing happened. And he rose to fame based off a complete lie.
Nothing has happened?
Well, first of all, this is so weird. He says this is based off a lie. What is the lie? He didn't even conceptualize what Jordan Peterson's fear was at all. Mm-hmm. It was that if the Canadian government says that if you misgender someone, specifically non-binary people, mm-hmm. and you don't use like the Z gender pronouns, that would constitute a civil rights violation, and you would be fined and or jailed.
Right. I think they said fined but not jailed, but Jordan Peterson famously said, well, what happens if I don't pay the fine? Like, sooner or later you're going to jail.
Right. Well, I would even be surprised if it was just that, because I would think if it was repeated thing that you would be jailed to some extent. And even if you were paying the fine, yeah.
And specifically, Jordan Peterson's objection was not to calling trans people by their preferred pronouns. It was the made-up pronouns for the non-binary that he had the objection to.
Well, there was, he said he would call. This was his famous conversation with John McWhorter, right? He said he didn't have a problem calling someone he or she if he felt that they were actually honest and transitioning. He wouldn't do it if he felt the person was just doing it as like a power move. Mm-hmm. But the thing he was really objecting to was the non-binary pronouns, which that was never explained. That was always lost in the conversation. Some of that was Jordan Peterson's fault. He didn't really make that clear, I think. But no, but so what exactly is the lie there?
Yes, and I brought up a screenshot of the article that we tossed around a few months ago. Because there was an incident that happened. Trans non-binary server awarded $30,000 in employee dispute over pronouns. You remember this?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, we discussed this article as it happened.
Right.
So obviously, I would dispute the claim that Vaush is making that nothing happened, because obviously this was based off of Bill C-17, and a non-binary server was awarded $30,000 in an employment
I found out
dispute,
there's actually another story too that's related to this. There's a guy named Robert Hooligan who this is a really crazy story. This is in Canada. His child wanted to transition, and the school started transitioning the child without the parents knowing. Okay. So like the school counselor was like, the child was changing their name, and they were having those conversations with the school counselor, not a doctor, not a psychologist, but the school counselor.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
About transitioning. And they were kind of doing all this stuff. Now, obviously they didn't like prescribe them any medicines or anything, but they were doing all this social transitioning without informing the parents, which is so weird. Because it's like, okay, I understand the school counselor maybe thinks it's an issue, but you talk to the parents about it. You don't just fucking, like, why would you explicitly not talk to the parents about it? That's what's strange. And then it became one of these situations where the father and the mother were divorced, and one parent, in this case the mother, was supporting the transition
and the
of the daughter becoming male, and the father was not. Mm-hmm. And so there was this really weird situation where the court, they were having some sort of custody agreement or some disagreement about the child and whether the child should be allowed to go on puberty blockers and all that kind of stuff. And the court basically demanded, and this I think is crazy, demanded the father use he, him pronouns and whatever the male name the daughter chose to refer to the daughter. The court demanded he do this. Mm-hmm. And he went and had an interview shortly after that, and he used she, her, and the court held him in contempt and jailed him.
Yep. I read this article as well.
For this.
Yeah.
And he went to jail, I believe, for 2 months This guy was in jail for 2 months for misgendering his daughter in Canada. Okay. Now people trying to debunk this will sort of push back. They'll say, well, no, he was held in jail for contempt of court. But it's like, okay, he's held in jail for contempt of court for misgendering his daughter. And then he had to pay, I'm trying to remember, like it was like $30,000 or $40,000 bail. It was a lot of money for bail, which he had to raise on like one of these GoFundMe like sites. And even then, after he got out of jail, he's still looking at 4 months of jail time unless he can appeal and fight this this contempt of court.
What a terrible situation to be in as a parent. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How fucking crazy is that? You're a parent. You feel like your child doesn't have gender dysphoria, shouldn't transition, and a court demands that you go along. You're not allowed to have a different opinion about your child regarding this. And the court demands that you go along with this. And if you don't, and if you just have an interview, you simply have an interview where you use the wrong gender pronoun, then what the court prescribes, you go to jail. Like, Canada's fucked.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, fellow Canadians, but like, Canada's fucked.
Yeah, that's not pretty. And all the transgender activists, I mean, the whole medical community seems to be on board with this stuff on really, I would argue, shaky grounds. So it's really a tough issue. It's a very, very tough issue.
And it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he lied. It doesn't matter.
See, and he's characterizing that as a lie.
Yeah, what's the lie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if no one was jailed or fined, it's still not a lie. He's saying, I'm opposing this bill because of, I oppose like the ethical, moral implications of what it's saying.
Well,
How's that a lie? If just because no one has, even if no one had ended up violating it, you're still against it for what it says.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make any sense.
The argument Vaush would be making is that Jordan Peterson said that people would be arrested because of this bill, and no one was arrested because of this bill, so Jordan Peterson was lying.
Which is not what Jordan Peterson's claim was. Not that they're like people would be arrested wholesale for this bill.
No,
he said, "I just
people
oppose
could
the
be
idea of this bill."
Yeah,
this bill.
I oppose compelled speech.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a very famous interview on public television where he said, you know, they went through the bill and they talked about you won't go to jail, but you'll be fined. And he famously said, you know, what happens if I don't pay the fine?
Right.
And the presenter really didn't have an answer for him, but I think we all know where that leads. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.